Okay, today we're going to be reviewing the Gemara on Chesed Aleph, which begins right over here, and will end at the two dots down here. Let's begin. So the Gemara is going to begin with the following question, and it is important that you remember what the Mishnah says. The Mishnah had said that throwing a rock into Rosh Hashanah is shogeg. And the Gemara starts with the following question: L'Rosh Hashanah mezidhu. But isn't throwing a rock into a public domain mazid? Isn't it something that is not just shogeg, it's not just an accident that you could have prevented, but it's really very irresponsible. No one goes and throws rocks into a public crowded place. So therefore the Gemara starts off with a question. How can the Mishnah say that throwing rocks in a public area is shogeg? Shouldn't it be karov lemezid? That's our question. The Gemara is now going to attempt to answer that question. So the Gemara states, Rosh Hashanah mezid. Again, isn't Rosh Hashanah throwing a rock into Rosh Hashanah mezid? So Amar Rav Shmuel Bar Yitzchak, or Shmuel Bar Yitzchak says, V'soter et kotla. It's talking about a case not of throwing rocks, but of taking down your wall. A guy is fixing his wall that is right next to a sidewalk, let's say right next to a public area, and as he's taking down his wall, some of the bricks fall and kill someone. That's the Gemara's suggestion. Now remember, we're going to ask later that Tosos talks about if it's taking down a wall, why is it a case of zorek, of throwing? You're not throwing your rocks, you're taking down your wall. Keep that in mind. We'll address that later on. But the Gemara continues, Ibaile le'iyune. Don't say that the case is talking about taking down a wall, because that wouldn't be shogeg either, because you should have checked to make sure that no one was around. You can't say that, oh, you're taking down your wall and you accidentally hurt someone, but you have a responsibility to check and make sure that no one's there. Like Gemara continues, V'soter et kotlo b'layla. Maybe the case of shogeg is talking about when you took down your wall at night. That's not good enough either. The Gemara says, B'layla nami ibayle le'iyune. But at night also, you still need to check to make sure that no one is around, because even though it's the nighttime, people are still walking around on the roads, and therefore you would not be shogeg for hurting someone like this. You would probably be karov lemezid. So therefore we're still stuck. Our problem is we don't know what is the case of shogeg that the Mishnah is talking about with throwing rocks. So now the Gemara will suggest further. Besoter ekotlo but la'ashpa. The case is not just that you are taking down your wall, but you're specifically taking it down near an ashpa, near a garbage dump. These guys are taking apart the bricks, they're fixing the bricks on the building, right near a garbage dump. And as we mentioned, that this is not a garbage dump the way we have garbage dumps. These were landfill areas that people used to go to the bathroom. They didn't have plumbing, they didn't have porta potties either, but that's probably the closest thing they may have had. And so again, the suggestion is, the case of shogeg is where someone is fixing his wall near an ashpa, near a garbage dump. The Gemara is going to now ask a little bit more detail about this case. The Gemara wants to know, Hechi dami. Hechi dami means what's the case? What is the exact case of ashpa? So the Gemara says here, Hi ashpa hechi dami. What's the case of ashpa? I shchiche barabim. If the ashpa is a place where the people are there, all the people are hanging out there, posheyahu. It's posheya. It's negligent. It's karov lemezid. That you're certainly not allowed to take your wall down if there's a lot of people there. Ilo shchiche barabim. And if there are not people there, anusu, then it's ones. So it seems like we're stuck. It's either posheya, it's either karov lemezid if people are there, or it's ones if no one is there. But what it's definitely not is it's not shogeg. And that's a problem. Again, we want the case of shogeg. We want a case of something that has to do with rocks. Perhaps it's taking down a wall. That is shogeg. And if no one's there, it's ones. And if a lot of people are there, it's just like throwing a rock into a public area. So what is shogeg? So the Gemara answers. Amar Rav Papa says, Lo tzricha el ashpa hasuye lepanos ba balayla, ve'ein asuye lepanos ba bayom. The case is talking about this garbage dump area that it is meant for people to use at night when less people are around and no one's embarrassed. They'll use it at night. but it's not meant, the ein asuya, it's not meant lipanus bayom, to use it at night, during the day. The ika de makri v'yasiv, but there are people, ika means there is, the makri v'yasiv, that it happens that people are sitting, that people come there during the day once in a while. So the Gemara tells us, Poshea lo have. It's not Poshea, it's not Karv Lamezid, Deha ina asuya lipanus babayom, because it's not meant to be used during the day, so you can't say it's Poshea. Ones nami lo have, but you can't say it's ones either, you can't say it's totally an accident, Deha ika de makriv yasif, because once in a while, someone is there. So the Gemara tells us, this is the case of shogeg. A case where a person is taking down his wall during the day near an ashba, near a garbage dump. That is the case of shogeg. Why? Because taking it down during the day near an ashba, it's not poshea, it's not karv lamezid, because people don't usually go there during the day. But it's not ones either, because once in a while someone might really have to go, and when you gotta go, you gotta go, and therefore it would be shogeg. So now the Gemara has found the case that the Mishnah refers to of Hazorek Evan L'Shus Rabim, that's shogeg, a person who throws a rock into a public area shogeg. What is that case? The case is taking down your wall near an ashba during the day. It's important to remember during the day. If it was at night, it would be poshea, it would be karv lamezid, because people are there at night, so you should not be doing something like that. We're now going to, after this video, and in the next video, we're going to address that question that I mentioned before, that if we're talking about taking down a wall, as we just said, why are we using the word zorik? We're not talking about throwing, we're talking about fixing or taking down a wall. So how does the word zorik fit in? And we'll see there the Tosfos and the Rambam.